Hi everyone, and welcome to the second part of our autumn garden tour. We're filming this now about 2 weeks after we filmed the first autumn garden tour, and the colors have changed quite a lot. In the background you can see the Bloodgood Japanese maple in the beautiful red color it gets in autumn time, but we'll get back to that later. Now let's start in the Zen area and walk our way around. The first cultivar I want to show you here is the Dissectum Nigrum. That's a maple you do not see that often actually in our videos. This is a red-leafed cultivar, and this year, however, the leaves have been more on the greenish side, which is also interesting, which we have seen on other maples as well. And in autumn, it typically gets this really nice darker red color. You can see here some of the leaves that are turning into this brighter red later on in autumn. But also on this one here, this year, there's not as much autumn color as there usually is. The other one in this area I want to show you is the Tamuke yama cultivar. This is also a red-leafed maple, and that one used to grow in a pot on our terrace. And this year in spring we planted it here so that it can actually grow down in front of the stone wall a little bit. This one has held the color really nicely, even though it gets a bit more shade here than it did on the terrace. But you can see clearly it's red, and it's turning into a brighter red now with the autumn sun. So in this same area you can see the Palmatum maple, and for some reason this one doesn't have autumn color at all this year, or not yet. It's completely green, which we've never had before, so this is really interesting. And then in comparison also, looking in the other direction here to your left, this is the orange stream. I showed you this one on the spring garden tour, I think, with the like orangey leaves. Also this one has not a lot of color yet, barely any. And looking through here you can see some more color, but we're gonna go to those maples. And here you can see the Aureum maple. This is a Palmatum Aureum, and this one has nice tones of color, in starting from red at the top going down to yellowish, but still at the bottom also this one is green. So here you can see all the colors again, really beautiful. Normally it's more yellowish in autumn time, but again this year it's all different. Now let's keep walking and I'll show you some more. On this side here you can see more Palmatum maples. Also those are still mainly green. There's a little bit of color at the top, but not a lot. The other ones here, the cultivars, have a lot of color. This one is a Viridis, and the leaves have almost completely fallen off. You can still see a little bit of the yellow, but I showed you a shot of this one at the very end of the last autumn garden tour. So if you, in case you haven't watched to the very end or seen it, you can go back and check. At the very end it had three nice colors, and so good that we filmed it. Here one more view on the sakazuki. Also showed you that in the last one. It's even on that side now even more red and intense. It's so beautiful. On the sun side, on the other side, it's already starting to fall off. Now let's keep walking. Those two here are now completely gone, the emerald lace and the fern leaf maple, completely dried off. But the Orangeola got nice color. It is not as orange as it was last year, but still a lot more than on the last garden tour. But also here, if you look underneath, you can still see some green leaves actually. This is really interesting this year. Look here, this entire branch is still green. And at the top, the leaves are already starting to dry off and to fall off. Now here is another one. I think I showed you that one briefly as well in the last garden tour. That's another Viridis, and now it has also a more beautiful color, even though also here the top is starting to dry off. So this happens very quickly this year. I mentioned this also last time. So the color, once it comes, it stays just for like a few days, and then the leaves are starting to dry and to fall off. So this is a very quick turnaround this year. Didn't have this before. And let's have a look now in this area to the Bloodgood maple. So that's a really beautiful red-leafed cultivar for all year round color, really, or during the growing season, I mean. And so during the season it has like a purple, darker red. You can still see down here. And then in autumn it turns into this blood red. I suppose this is where the name Bloodgood comes from. And it's really beautiful, especially looking towards the sun through the leaves. Really bright red and very nice cultivar. Also, it builds a lot of seeds usually. So here in the background you see another Viridis maple with a beautiful autumn color, also in red, orange, yellow, and still a little bit of green, like all the Viridis maples this year. So that one has a very nice cascading shape. It's a bit larger. It still fits in the area, but we may have to prune a little bit in following years to accommodate for its size. And then here, those two quickly, this is another sakazuki, but because it has mainly shade, it's still green really. It was pretty much like that all year. And this is an Atropurpureum, so a red-leafed cultivar also, but it has also a lot of shade, and this is why you can also see here more green and not the typical autumn color. But I'll show you some of those towards the end that have a full sun position. Before we move to the other side of the garden, I want to show you the fernleaf maple, Aconitifolium maple, and how it looks without the leaves. They have all gone, and you can see now how many seeds are on this maple. So they're not as many as in previous years, but still quite a lot. You see, this is how they look dried, and then when they fall off, they will helicopter down to the ground with these like wings they have. And these seeds, we usually in the following year get loads that come up from the ground underneath the maples, or the ones that we didn't clean up because we didn't see them or catch them. But they can also be planted, of course, if you want to do that. If you plant seeds from a cultivar, however, there's no guarantee how this new maple is going to turn out. So this is not like taking a cutting and like cloning the cultivar. This could be basically anything, growing it from seed, but it's certainly an option to grow maples if you want to and just want to have a surprise. Also to grow rootstock maples in order to propagate the cultivars, which are usually on a different kind of maple that is more resistant to wherever they are grown or sold in which climate. So just wanted to show you this. I will just leave them on the ground. We haven't started our cleanup yet, and now let's move over to the other side of the garden. So this is what's left of the Sango kaku leaves. You see how quickly they have gone. The other one is almost completely bare, and this one has a few more leaves, but they are starting to fall off. Now in the background you can already see the nice color we got on that side. I showed you a quick shot of this side in the last video, I think I did, and now you can see in the sun, it's so beautiful how much color we have. Let's go a bit closer. So these small maples here are Orange Dream cultivars. Again, this year, like I showed you the other one in the last tour, or maybe I didn't, they do not have really a lot of color. Normally they really have a bright orange in autumn, and we have seen this, it was 2 years ago. Last year it was not that great either. This one is a Palmatum maple. It's one of our largest maples, and it has this really nice color again with red, orange, yellow and green, so all shades really a maple normally gets, or the Palmatum type maples. And you can see that because this side is more in the sun, that the color is a lot more on this side compared to that side, which is the shade side. Then in the background here is a Norway maple. That's the only maple we have that is not a Japanese maple. But also this one gets a beautiful autumn color. This is a red-leafed cultivar, so it has dark red leaves during the year, during the growing season. And then in autumn it turns actually greenish before it turns then to this yellow orangey color you can see now. You see on the leaves all kinds of colors. Very nice. And the leaves are really large on this one. Then right next to it we have a Greenthumb North Carolina red. So this is a very a smaller cultivar, quite delicate and light, you know, the way it grows. And it has these really long sliced leaves. So this is also quite nice. This is a red-leafed cultivar, and you can see that the color is now also in this like darker red. Some leaves turn a little bit brighter red in autumn, but this holds pretty much the same color all growing season long. The last maple I want to show you down in the garden is this Palmatum maple. It's also a fairly tall maple, already has been here for many years, and it gets this beautiful autumn color as well, like in all different tones, from red, orange, and still a little bit of green also this year. So looking around in the garden, other than the color of the maples, everything else is really very green still. Normally during winter the greens fade a little bit, but at this time, at this moment, it's still like in summer really. And we had in September a lot of rain, so after this summer heat, and then when the rain stopped, there was at the beginning of October or something like that. And since then we've had the nicest weather. We have occasional rain, so everything stays moist, which you can see on the plants and also on the moss. And it's still very warm, so we still have at the moment about 20-21 degrees centigrade or 68-70 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can see on the ground here that the moss is always very happy at this time of the year because of the moisture and because the temperatures are going back. And here's one example again where new moss growth is coming out. These are areas around the rhododendron where we removed some more of the remaining grass. And now you can see that also here the moss is starting to grow quite quickly actually, because this entire area is shaded out. It has like a semi-shade. And so the rhododendron are all doing really well also. And now let's walk up so you see some more of this side. Here's another really large rhododendron. That's the one that usually doesn't bloom in summer, but you see it's getting the blossoms, you can see here. So we'll see what happens this year. Coming year, sorry, not this year anymore. Walking past here, Adam's Mound with all the evergreens on there. And let's maybe have a look through here before we go the other way up onto the terrace. So here I love this, looking through here along the pathway and all the moss that started to grow here. That's so nice. I almost had to take moss away already because it's growing so much. And then here I wanted to show you on the Nandina domestica, sacred bamboo, that now the berries are starting to form. So they, in summer, they get white little blossoms, and then in autumn time they start to build these berries, and now they have this like orangey color, but then soon they will turn into a bright red and they stay on all winter. So this is a really nice winter color or winter decoration for your garden as well. And because there are so many berries, as you can see, and they're quite heavy, so they're hanging over a little bit. But I'm hoping they're not gonna break. And this is the tree I mentioned before, the other orange tree that doesn't really have a lot of color this year either. So it's more like at the top, just this dark purple red, like here, or where there's most sun, and the rest still completely green. Now let's move up to have a look at the Ginkgo from upstairs, which is now already pretty much completely yellow. And also I'll show you the other Atropurpureum maples. This is a deciduous azalea, and they usually get quite nice leaf colors as well in autumn before they fall off. This has a more like a purple color and still green because it's shaded out on this side. This maple is one of the other Atropurpureum cultivars we have, so a red leaf cultivar. It is very similar to the Bloodgood, but this one stays a little bit more greenish depending on shade. But also in autumn it gets this brighter red leaf color, as opposed to during the year where the leaf color goes more into a purple color or dark red, and then they turn into this lighter red in autumn. So looking from here, you can see another Atropurpureum, that's a smaller one, and in the background you can see the Bloodgood Japanese maple I showed you before, and you see in the distance, in looking at the maples together, that these cultivars are very similar, or you see how similar they are. You still recognize, I find on the Bloodgood, that the color is a little different. It has more this like blood red, whereas this is just a lighter red in autumn. So this comparison is the only time of the year where I can really compare it like that, and I just wanted to show you that. And in the background here, look at the ginkgo, how yellow it is now. It fits always so well with all the other shades of red, orange and green in the garden, and it gives a beautiful oval picture. Now, normally this would be the time when we show you a few drone shots of the garden and all the colors, but this year we can't do that. Is that right, Adam?
Yep.
And that's why?
Because there's a problem with the drone.
And what's the problem with the drone?
It's at the bottom of Hallstatt Lake.
And why is it at the bottom of Hallstatt Lake?
Because I was messing around in sporty mode and I drowned it.
Here we go. So this is why the shots we film without the drone we'll have to do for this video, and this is why we're now on the terrace, and then at the end we'll show you a nice overview, and so you can see the entire garden with all these beautiful colors.
I'm not allowed another one yet.
No.
Because it's not the first one that's disappeared. The first one crashed into a tree, the second one went diving, and maybe Father Christmas will bring me a third one this year.
We'll see about that.
With virtual reality heads-up display?
Yes, we'll see about that.
Okay.
Anyway, okay, so that brings me to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and like, and see you next time. Thank you. Bye.